Booyah!
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday. So we are back. Here is the Average J podcast with J and J. This is J, Justin Ruiz.
And this is Jay, Jeremy Francois.
So back at it again. Today we have a number of things. Kind of got a mixed bag here. So going from some crazy celebrity stuff to some crazier stuff that's coming. So, and I can't wait to get to that.
It's like a
So,
it's like a mystery box. You stick your hand in there, and what are you getting?
yeah, you know what? That's the perfect thing. We got a mystery box coming at you. You paid $60 for a $200 value, and let's see if what you got makes the cut. So, first up, let's talk about we have some kind of crazy celebrity news happening since the last time that we recorded. So, first things first, I think this kind of like definitely was everywhere as soon as it happened. This past Friday, Britney Britney Spears finally got her conservatorship ended by a judge. So she is officially free. I saw people like there was like crazy like demonstrations and like people were holding parties. There was like parades in some areas.
Oh
I
wow.
saw all over like social media. Like people were really like freaking excited
Yeah.
that Britney is finally free. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that the conservatorship was kind of sketchy. I know her dad, like, there was a lot of shady stuff going on with her dad and, like, forcing her to work and taking a lot of her money and, like,
Yeah.
not letting her do certain things. So it's definitely good, but
Yeah. There's
I'm
some stuff.
it's good. I don't know why. Well, no, scratch that. I know why it was such a big deal. It's because it's Britney Spears and everyone loves Britney
Yeah.
Spears, so it went through the roof. But I really want to see what happens next. I mean, I don't know about you, but I follow Britney Spears on social media.
Mm.
Do you?
I think I did at one point, and I just stopped. Or I think I came across it, and I was like, "Oh, she like this was a while back." I was like, "She's
Mhm,
relevant still," but she was never in the front of my mind until she started blowing up as of what last year when we
mhm.
were all in a lockdown.
Yeah,
So that's when it was bubbling up.
yeah, yeah. I feel like that's when the conservatorship kind of happened because I've been following her for a while. I'm sure, like at one point I was in it, then off it, or whatever.
Yeah.
So she started doing these like really weird like videos,
Yes, I
and
saw like a few of those.
it was like a series of her like dancing, and she's a dancer. She likes to dance in her free time. That's her creative outlet. But there was like these videos were like recorded and shot very weirdly and clearly by her and then uploaded to social media. And it was like her one outlet, and then she would talk about things that she liked, things that she was like wearing, dancing, whatever. But she like sometimes she looked just kind of beat and kind of hurt, and other times, she was trying to show out or whatever. But there was, I mean, probably like a year ago or something, someone had, and I think this was the first that I remember first mention of this whole conservatorship really blowing up. Someone had commented in a video saying, "Hey, in your next video, it was like wear a yellow dress or yellow top and blink this many times and at this point to let us
Oh my
know if something's wrong." And it just so happened that literally the next video followed that, like those instructions that
That's
this random
crazy.
commenter had given her. So people were like, "Oh snap! Like something's wrong. Like something's going on with Brittany, and like she's being held captive." And I think that's when the train really like picked up on like looking into what her situation was.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of her dad had a lot of control over her life and career. Like there was a lot of things with like um she couldn't like buy certain things. She couldn't literally like physically she could not do certain things without his say
Yeah.
so.
There was a lot of things that I've seen, something about her kids as well, like
Mhm.
when and how
Yeah, like
long.
when and where she could like visit them and be with them
Yeah,
outside of the house.
which is crazy.
Yeah, a lot of it was really micromanaged, and it was to the point where people were like, "Why is it like this?" And it shouldn't be. And then there came her career stuff. Apparently, I don't know if you know this, a couple years back, she
Yeah.
had a residency in Las Vegas. Like that
Mm.
was her big deal. um, she was a judge on American Idol, and then she ended up getting this residency in Vegas, and she was there for 2 or 3 years, and then ended up backing out of her contract and
Mhm.
and splitting
Did not
because of
know
her
that.
own health. So apparently during this time, she was basically just being medicated like 24/7 so that she could perform.
Question
And
for
no,
you. Yeah, sorry. This all started with that when she shaved her head, right? Is that I just want to know where like
so her conservatorship happened
or was that
in,
before?
I think, around that time, like that
Oh,
2007, mid 2000s time frame.
yeah.
She's like, she did a bunch of stuff, and a court ended up getting involved and ruling that she was not emotionally fit to make her
Mhm,
own decisions.
mhm,
And from what I've read and what I've seen, she was okay with that. And her conservatorship ended up going to her father, who at the time was also her manager.
mhm.
So because of that, he was also given a lot of control over her life.
Yeah.
So going back to the Vegas thing, apparently it came out that she was really just being medicated so that she could perform.
Oh,
And then
wow.
after a while, it got to the point where I think she physically just could not, and that's when they backed out of the contract and everything. Um, but yeah, she was basically kind of like, or at least the picture was painted that she was like a prisoner in her own house. So it got a lot of attention, and I'm happy. And everyone, if it wasn't working for her, she shouldn't have been forced to be doing that.
Yeah.
So hopefully everything is good from here on out, and
Yeah.
she's getting the help that she needs, and she's able to kind of live a very happy life. But the one thing that I remember is like when they were talking about ending the conservatorship, there was like a 2 week, maybe 3 week time frame where Brittany was just like feeling herself,
Mhm,
and she was taking like crazy, like almost naked pictures and like putting them on Instagram and stuff like that,
mhm.
like stuff that she had never done. Like, it was just super
Probably
weird
like
to
a
me,
reaction. She was just like she felt so held back, and now she's just like it's just like a
like,
chakra
just
into the
straight
mentally.
freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I would say it's like a almost physical representation of how she feels.
Mm. You know
That
what? That's probably
yeah,
exactly, that's a really
it's
good way to
very
put that.
scary. Like to think we live in this reality that someone that we and this honestly, I'm sure there are hundreds, maybe even more, that are in the same situation, but because it's Britney Spears, she's out of it. It makes me think because when this started bubbling up, that's something I've thought of, and people brought it up too. They're like a
Mhm.
lot of on everyone's feed, free Britney, but then there's like
Yeah.
other social injustice going on, and
Mhm.
Britney, not to get all into this, but the white girl that is trapped.
Yeah.
Um, but still, it's a bad thing, but this is happening and this is real. And that's a scary thing because I can't imagine being withheld. It's like telling someone when to breathe. It's weird. You just
Yeah,
can't live your own life. And especially coming from your dad. That's another thing. That's a problem. And that is,
and it's not like she's a kid, you know what I
yeah,
mean? This is a
yeah,
grown adult woman, you know, and she has to be almost controlled in this fashion, and I'm sure she just that's gotta be, like you said, like, super frustrating. Like, imagine, like, you are a millionaire pop idol,
yeah,
and you're getting an allowance from your dad. Like, that kinda sucks. Like, you have, and again, I understand this was implemented at a time where,
yeah,
she needed it, right? And I'm sure, like you said, there's probably a bunch of people that we don't even know that have this or go through this. I didn't even know what a conservatorship was
yeah.
until
Until
I started, like, following this. And it also kinda sucks that, like, other people don't see this, I guess, rallying to their side. Obviously, not only is she famous, but she's a pop icon,
yeah,
beautiful white woman or whatever, and the media is using that to kind of like really push it in front of everyone, on social media as well as the pop media,
yeah,
tabloid stuff. It's in front of everyone all the time, and it gets ratings, it
yeah,
gets clicks,
exactly.
people want to read about it. But it sucks when, I'm sure, like you said, this is happening to thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of other people that do not have this platform, and hopefully this kind of opens the eyes to some people that like
Yeah.
conservative shifts might not be the best thing sometimes, and maybe this brings about some good for others.
Yeah.
um but it was, I do think, and I I always say this too. It's so funny to see, funny in like a altruistic, like not
Yeah.
funny way.
Not
To
haha.
see, yeah, not haha, to see how the media picks the next thing,
Yeah.
right? Because we don't necessarily pick what we want to see. Nowadays it's really, back in the day it was just news and newspaper. Whatever you read or watched was information that you were getting.
Hmm.
Now we have so many outlets that are bombarding us with things that are happening all the time. You know, they pick up whatever a group of people like, and then they just shotgun it everywhere,
Hmm.
right? I'm sure there's people that might not even know that this is going on because everyone lives in kind of their own echo chamber nowadays.
Yeah.
But to see certain things go so mainstream that it's everywhere and any type of outlet is talking about it. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw this Britney stuff on some like comic book pages and stuff that I follow.
Hmm.
It is everywhere. Like, you
Hmm.
could not escape it. So it's really funny to see how, people pick up on the trends, but to see the trends actually forming in time. I've been following this conservatorship for a little while, so I knew about it before it kind of caught a flame and kind of went crazy. So it's just weird to see which things catch and which don't, you
Yeah.
know?
It's weird because you mentioned earlier about how like the way it kind of like one of the beginnings of how this all started about the person who made that comment in one of her like videos. For
Mhm.
me, I saw it as when you were describing, I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. I saw I guess it was a meme or a video or like a whatever, maybe a meme or a parody was saying like how
Mhm.
she was just sending out codes and people were deciphering it. But I didn't know
Yeah.
that was based on
Yeah,
some
it was a thing.
truth.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was based on. I thought it was just a funny thing, and I was like, "Haha, that's wow." People are gonna go to such depths to be like, "Oh, this is what is it called a conspiracy theory." But
Yeah.
it was like, "Oh, there's some truth to this." But that if that is true, like how many other things are true? We can go down this rabbit hole, and we shouldn't because we can be here forever. But that's crazy. And again, and it's you mentioned it before. I hope it does shed light onto this because there's people that doesn't have that clout or money to even afford a lawyer to get them out of something like this. Because if like yeah, I can think of myself like if I was in that situation and I could have what like I'm kind of being dramatic, but I have what 100 friends of online.
Mhm.
100 of those friends are probably not looking at my stories of me crying out that I'm in trouble, and that could lead to other stuff, depression, and sad to say, suicide, or even inflicting pain on on oneself.
Yeah,
Um,
it's weird to kind of know, like, going off of what you're saying, like, out of the 100 people that interact with online, like, there's a small percentage that might even care,
yeah.
that interact with your stuff, and they're like, oh, you know what, he's going through something, maybe we should help him out. uh, Unfortunately, nowadays, since we're so connected and since there's so many issues, and unfortunately so many people that are willing to kind of exploit these issues, uh, sometimes it's hard to kind of pick and choose what is real or what is worthy of your attention, opposed to people that might be just kind of acting out, or calling for attention. Like, it's I know it's a hard thing because we see so much of, I feel like, on the internet especially, we see a lot of negativity,
Hmm.
and it, at this point a lot of people are either so used to it that it doesn't even bother, like desensitized almost to a lot of these things,
Yeah.
and it doesn't always pan out correctly for them. And the only way to combat that is for the real people, the people that are actually going through these things, to get as much attention as possible. And it's, the people with clout are the ones that get the most attention.
Hmm.
So, Brittany going through this very real issue, of course her stuff might get resolved more than, you know, Billy down the street who's going through the same thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a weird it's a weird situation to be in, and a weird time have to go through those situations, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, especially now. Makes me think like it's a random I had a thought today when, or was it the other day when it was on the news. I
Hmm.
was like, oh, so it's funny to say, and then this is my like haha much funny, like is she gonna come out with an album? Like, I don't know. It was just a weird
Yeah,
thought.
and that's the other part, right? Like that's what gets you thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is why media outlets report on this, because then it gets people thinking like, "Oh, she's free now, so now she's going to drop an album." It was kind of like the same thing with Kanye, right?
Hmm.
Kanye going through the divorce and everyone's like, "Oh, snap, he's in his feelings. Now we're going to get some fire music from him." Like I think, people are always looking to the next thing. Like what is this going to birth?
Yeah.
And that's such a weird thing, because why wouldn't we focus on like how can this person heal, you
Yeah.
know? I feel
The
like the consensus, especially for like famous people that produce things, it's what can they give me
Yeah,
after this.
exactly. Exactly. It's literally I was just gonna say that. There's no sincerity on like, oh damn, I hope she gets better. Hopefully maybe the thought process like, I hope she does make an album just to heal herself.
No.
But but the sincerity is like, and no one can lie to themselves. If you already had the thought like, yo, I can't wait to make another album, so she like I want to just hear her
Hmm.
sing and pop, like then you're being, that's not sincerity. You don't care about her, you just care about what she's making.
No.
But if you really care about that person, like for me, I'm indifferent because, like, yeah, Brittany, growing up, we all grew up with Brittany, but like, I'm like, I just hope she's good.
Yeah.
And my thought was, oh, is she gonna make another one? Because my other thought was, whenever I remember the memes right back when we were in college, like if Adele and Taylor Swift were, if they were actually lovers and they broke up with each other, would they make songs about it, and they would just hit up like top charts and whatnot, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, um, well, suffice to say, I hope everything comes out great for her, and I hope she's good too. Like I remember it was all jokes when at the time, because I forget, I think
Yeah.
I was very young, so I thought it was funny at the time, but mental health is a serious thing. I hope she
Yeah.
is good or healed.
Yeah. I feel like the further you are from something, the easier it is to be sincere,
Yeah.
right? Because when you're super involved in those things, you might have your own agenda, like subconsciously, but
Mhm.
somebody like you, right? You, not to say that you could care less, but you're just, you don't even know that that's happening. So once you hear about it, you're like, you know what? Oh man, I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first thing that comes to mind, like how she is feeling, rather than I wonder what she's gonna do after. So yeah, I think to cap that piece off, of course, we want her to do good and be well. So hopefully all that stuff shakes out. So, but I am happy to hear that, her conservatorship ended. So hopefully she can kind of heal herself emotionally and grow as a person, because I'm sure this, has stunted her in ways that we can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So hopefully she kind of reacclimates herself with doing her own thing and not going too crazy, but, being back out there in the world and kind of enjoying life.
Being human with us
Facts.
and whatnot.
So moving on from that, kind of sticking in the same celebrity being human, caring about others thing. Um, what was this? Like about 2 weeks ago, Elon Musk he kind of
Clapback?
showed. Yeah,
Sound
he
like
kind of.
it, right?
That was a great sound effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, he kind of clapped back. So you know, there's all these things, everyone's seen it on like Instagram or Facebook, and it's like, oh, if so and so sold this much of their company, they would still be a billionaire and they would solve world hunger. And
Yeah.
apparently, Elon was like, you know what? Let's do it. So he said that he's willing to sell his Tesla stock
Mhm.
if the UN can prove that that money would actually solve world hunger.
Yeah.
So if the UN can come to him and actually say, "Hey, this is the channels that it would go through to actually end world hunger," he would be like, "All right, sign the check. Go ahead, go for it." And he would still be a billionaire. He
Yeah.
would still be totally fine.
And
I
is
think it
he,
was $6 billion
yes,
worth of his
6 billion.
stocks.
And
Yeah,
he's now the richest person on the planet, right? It's not Bezos anymore, right?
yeah,
So yeah. It's crazy. That is, It I remember someone put into, like, when you see it physically, was they had a
Mhm,
grain of sand, and he just a sand equaled, I think it was like $1,000,000. Dude, and I think it was they were using Bezos as an example. And
mhm.
it's like, if you took this much, not sand, but, rice, and gave this like, this dude will still be rich. It was like a mound of rice. I forget the
Mhm.
video, it was like a while back. And I can imagine, and he's just flaunting it. This is not like, "Hey, guys, like, can you give me a strategy?" So, no, he's like, "Alright, do this, and yeah, prove to me." Like, it's kinda prove to me, because I have
Yeah,
the
it's basically like a he's like a global like, you know the show Shark Tank?
Yes.
Yeah, he basically
Yes.
did that. He was like,
Yes.
"Come to me with the business plan and I'll invest." And it's kinda crazy to think about it because that means in our lifetime,
Yes.
there is a possibility to solve world hunger.
Yeah.
There's a possibility for one person,
Just
one individual to solve a global issue.
It made me think about Thanos for a second. I don't know why. I just thought about his proposition. I'm like, "Damn, was he right?" But then I didn't get into that. I didn't wanna go down that hole, because then I
Thanos
will
did
turn out
nothing wrong?
like, you would see me in a spaceship like, "Jay?" Like, just morphed into a purple black man? I don't know. But, yeah, that is a possibility. But then it makes me think, like, this it ties into greed as well. Like, you know how many
Yeah.
people are trying to solve, not solve, but help end world starvation? And it's like, this is modern history. We're like, why are we like, it's weird. There's so much technology. There's so many ideas.
But I think it comes down to, right, like, people that have money typically want more money.
Oh yeah.
So, they're continuing on this incestuous greed of just building their own wealth and not necessarily giving out anything that really matters, an amount
Yeah.
that actually matters.
It seems like
Because
handouts.
because if you think about it, if it was something like if all the billionaires came together and gave like 1% of their wealth,
Hmm.
like each one of them gave like 1% of their wealth, they could end a lot of the world issues.
Oh
As I've seen that like somewhere or whatever.
yeah.
But, these random quotes or infographics or whatever that we see online, and that alone tells you so much that this 1% of the population that controls so much wealth and resources, because that's just what it is, money buys resources.
Hmm.
They control so much of the globe that giving a 1%, a 100th of their value away means that they could solve things, but they don't.
And that's another thing, that when you say gives away, like, there are all these celebrities, famous people.
Yeah.
I'll say rich people, because I don't want to group. I don't want to say actor. Just rich people. You go on their Wikipedia page, you see what they're into and what they're
Mhm.
donating to. I'm like, if this is something they donate constantly, like, where is that money going? And then I don't have the. I'm pretty sure I have the ability to go on the internet right now and try to follow the breadcrumbs and
Mhm.
find out where this money is going. And then at that point, that's going to make me go into some sort of sleuthing binge, and fighting for something where I'm writing a story in my head, sorry. I found myself as a detective in the underworld type thing. But yeah, it's like, where's this money going? And then, is it actually doing anything? Because yes, it pays for resources. It has to pay the person. Like, now, if you're going down to the person, it has to feed the person, give them a home, give them like a way of life. And it depends on the way of life, because it makes me think of when people go to these countries like Jamaica, or anywhere in the Caribbeans. You're in the
Mhm.
resort, but then that money is going to these people that go back home to their home in the islands, where they're not living lavish lives. That's just a resort. Now we're just going into
Yeah, I
world
mean, I think
hunger,
that
or
that's a great way to like explain that because when you go to a resort, right, you are paying, you or me,
yeah,
whatever vacationer, you're paying a lot of money to be in a place that looks beautiful and you're catered to,
yes,
right? That money that you're paying to goes to every single person that works there, on top of the people that own that development, right? Obviously, there needs to be a markup so that that person can make money.
Yeah.
And those people that work there, more often than not, they are locals from the area. They're not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's just a better thing to do than figuring it out, back home. Like a lot of these places, I mean, just looking at like Puerto Rico and stuff,
Yeah.
a lot of these places still kind of function like they did, right? There's a lot of jungle, there's a lot of rainforest, there's a lot of farming, and unfortunately that stuff does not pay the bills.
Exactly.
You know, that is not a booming industry. I mean, technically on those islands, it never really has been. In some places, yes, but that's not something that they can make a lot of money doing. Some
Exactly.
people can, but the majority of them are not. There's a lot of places, like specifically again in Puerto Rico, that are extremely like not necessarily like
I think I know where you're getting at. I'm trying
I
to.
don't want to say like terrible or anything like that, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of places that are in need of money.
It could be better.
Yeah, it
It
could
has
be better.
potential. And not to go off that, but even in America, it could be better.
Yeah.
There are like I know I don't want to get too into this because I haven't followed it, but I know there's the infrastructure bill that they're talking about.
Hmm.
There's a lot of things they can that rich people can help with, and I don't talk too much about it because like my simple mind and my not simple mind, my simple understanding is if you tax the rich, more money can help. If you tax the rich more, that money can help the lower class.
Yeah.
That's my basic understanding of things. But then if we get into the nitty gritty, then it gets into this conversation. It gets all muddy.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is with more money coming in, you could do more things, right?
Yeah.
Case in point.
Well, and then I forget the name, and I remember reading this article a while back, and I believe we discussed this too. Maybe we discussed this at some point. This man in Washington with his tech company, he he gave most of his salary. He trickled it down to his employees, and the company's still a success. I forget the it's a I forget the company, but it's in Washington. Trickled his money out. Like I think he cut some of his salary, gave it to his company employees, and the employees are still living the life that they can want. They can have their kids, they can have
Hmm.
homes, like buy homes, not in an apartment, and the company is successful.
Hmm.
So he proved that it can work, but obviously big companies are not. They're probably seeing this and they're like, we're not going to do that. They are aware this is happening, and
Well,
they were able to work.
bigger companies and executives, they want that money.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Because this guy has kind of used his own business model of if a small group of people is succeeding at the same level, we make it a better place to be at,
Yeah.
right? That's what it is. Instead of it being this tiered thing, as the further you go up, the more money you make.
Yeah.
If everyone's on this like
They
stable
all make the same
platform,
money. Yeah.
yeah, they all make good money
Mhm.
that allows them to live and do what they want, then everyone's happier, morale's better, and it makes it a better place to work at.
Yep.
But then you kind of get into the conversations of socialism, communism, and these are buzzwords that people don't like.
Yeah.
And
These red words.
yeah, not to get too political with things, but you know, going back to the main idea, it just blows my mind that one person, if the math is there, one person has the ability in our lifetime here and now, not 300 years from now, one person has the ability to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
don't know.
bananas to me. That does not make
It
any
is
sense.
crazy. It's crazy. It makes it seem like, and this was just like a random funny in my head. Like it makes him like, what if Jesus came back and he's just now he's playing this weird, not a villain, but just a I guess gray area villain, like an anti-hero. He's just
Mhm.
in the form of Elon Musk. Not Dr. Evil like Bezos, but like he just becomes like he's just like, I got the money, write
Let's
down
do
like you
this.
said, just like write down that business plan. And it's true. And it makes me think of one of my favorite books, Shibumi, and it's not verbatim, but it's like in order to be free, you gotta be super rich. Because in the book, the guy just lives a simple life, but he has a lot of money. And he has all this money to keep that simple life, which is crazy because a lot of these people can just chill in a simple life and not need anything. Like when Elon Musk had that small 500 by 500 home, and people are like, why is he doing this? But to me, it's just showing off. That's what it is to me.
It's like, yeah, you get to a point of like, I could have anything, or I could just be super simple and mind my own business. And it's
Exactly.
like, you know, you see it with these people that I think more so than ever, people are kind of steering their lifestyle to mental health rather than acquiring as much as possible around them, which I mean people still do.
Mm,
But instead of doing that, it seems like people with money are kind of investing more so in themselves and trying to take that step back and being like living a simpler lifestyle. But it's always easy to live a simple lifestyle when you have the ability to do anything.
exactly.
You
Because
know,
people
living
do live poor.
minimalistically is super easy when you're dirt poor and literally cannot afford anything, or when you can afford anything in the world and the only thing you have to worry about is
Is your
the
brain.
four shirts that you own to
Yeah.
wash.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about two things, two ends of the spectrum, right?
Mhm.
You have somebody who's extremely poor and you have someone who's extremely rich. They could live the same type of life,
Yeah.
but these people will have very different stressors, you know?
One has the opportunity. It's like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. Let me just go to Italy just tomorrow, tonight, in the
Yeah,
next hour.
there's
And just
the biggest thing that they don't have to worry about is the biggest thing in this other person's life that's keeping them down.
yeah.
You know, so it's way easier to kind of break the chains and do whatever you want when you're super rich and you don't have to worry about anything.
Reminds me of those images that showed up a few years back of when Kanye and Kim were together still.
Hmm.
It was them taking pictures, but the pictures were like Polaroid, and it says, "Oh, look at these two living
Yeah.
the middle class lifestyle." But I'm like, that literally looks just like that. I don't know if it was an art thing, but if it
Mm.
was done on purpose, I'm like, that to me, it's a little disgusting because it's like those images. If you didn't know who they were, and I saw that, I went, "Oh, look at that family. They're so beautiful." But they're living that middle age,
Yeah.
middle class lifestyle. But then you find out they're rich, and they're living in some apartment with their kid. And it's like there's someone in the same level with less money, and they have
No, I remember those pictures, and that's what it was an art thing.
okay, but it's
It
still
was a piece, and it's I'm kind of there with you. I think it was done in poor taste
yeah,
because there's one thing to document life, right? There's always beauty in any walk of life. There's one thing to document it with people that are living that experience, and then there's another thing to kind of like tote someone up and make it look like they're living that experience. You know, it's kind of like that's your job, right? So at the end of the day, you take off all that crap and you're awesome. Like, you know
you're
what I
back
mean?
on your reality TV show.
Yeah, like it's not in good taste. You know, it's done very poorly. But yeah, no, I remember those pictures, and it's you're right. If you had no clue who those people were, you would look at that and be like, oh, that you know what, that's pretty cool. Like that's chic. That's like a cool little like Polaroid thing.
Yeah,
Like it's nice. And then when you see the back end of it, it's like, oh no, these are multimillionaires that lead a very crazy lifestyle in the public eye. You know, and it's like no, that's like you missed the mark on what you were trying to do.
yeah.
But yeah, man, super weird stuff. Um, Talking about Kanye though, one of Kanye's besties, right? Taylor Swift,
Tay Tay.
Tay Tay. So T Swizzle dropped a an album. I'm pretty sure it was like a surprise album though,
I
because I
believe
don't
so.
remember. I don't think it was like I don't think it was like promoted or there was any marketing around it. Right? It was just she kind of dropped it out of nowhere, and she dropped it this past week, and it is a re-recording of her hit songs throughout the years,
Yeah,
but they're all in the titles. They all say, I think it's like Taylor's version. I think that's what it's called. Each song will say whatever, and then Taylor's version, and it's a re-recording, completely remixed. I believe the lyrics are all the same, but the arrangements, like the music, is all different.
yeah.
And some of them, you know, Erica has been listening to it this weekend, and they're very good. They're nice rearrangements of things.
Let me
But
find out you have posters now. You're just a fan. You just it's all of
I've been to Taylor Swift concert. That's the
wow.
biggest. That's the biggest concert I've ever been to.
Oh wow. I don't think
When
I've
I
ever
was still when I was still working in New York, we went to Jersey and to the what was it? It was the Giants stadium.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, where the Giants play. So we went there and it was Taylor Swift's like arena. Like and she did her concert and who was it? Camila Cabello and Charlie XCX?
Mm.
X Charlie X
Yeah, you
am I
said it.
XCX, right? Whatever. Those two opened for her and then they did a huge thing at the end. But dude, it was huge. It was completely sold out, and there was these huge freaking like inflatable snake things, and there was like
Yeah.
holograms everywhere. She was in this like floating box thing, and she kind of like swirled around the stadium.
That's dope.
It was
I
insane.
have to look that up on YouTube. I'm
It
pretty
was
sure there's
crazy. This was
videos.
like what 3 years ago, 4 years ago almost.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I got to go. My job, one of the partners that we were working with at the time,
Hmm.
they got like 10 tickets to go to this arena show, and we went. It was massive. It
Wow.
was, and getting out, forget about it.
That sounds hectic.
It was a sold out stadium.
Nah.
It was insane. But anyway, I like Taylor Swift. She's cool. I mean, there's some times where she's kind of like super annoying, and there's been like a bunch of like little things that she does. It's kind of
I'm
like
pretty sure
shut up.
this.
But her music's nice, and
Nice save.
but yeah, Swifties, please don't come for me. I won't be able to survive that. Um, but yeah,
I
no,
think that's
I like
dope.
her music a lot, and she's funny. She's been on different TV shows and SNL and stuff like that. I think she's very funny, but at the end of the day, she did this because she's been in this, forever long battle with was a Scooter Braun,
Hey, what?
and that was
Oh, yes.
her old manager, the guy who found Justin Bieber and all that.
Hmm.
He owns a lot of her masters.
Got it.
So for those that don't know, the master recordings of her songs, those are the things that give you the rights to the song and you get the royalties whenever they're played. So Taylor as the artist obviously sees a percentage of that, but since she does not own it, she
Yeah.
can't really do anything with that music.
Yeah.
It's technically not hers. She doesn't get paid the full amount of the royalties and she doesn't have the rights of it to like put it anywhere. She has to go through the person that owns it.
Yeah.
So she's been, at this forever, trying to get her music. And, I get it. She wants to own her own music. She was very young when she got into it. I believe she was 15
Yeah.
when she started singing. She started out as a very country star and then you kind of moved towards pop. But uh, yeah, when she first started singing, you're young, you're new to the game, and I'm sure those weren't the questions she was asking.
Exactly.
And her agent owned her stuff. He purchased that and owned it, and I believe it was done all legally. It was in her contracts and everything. And later on, she becomes this huge star and she wants to own these things. And he's like, "No, sorry, like this is how I make my money."
Hmm.
He was like, "I found you. I'm doing this. Like this is how I make my money. Like I'm not selling it to you." And there was a lot of fan outcry. People like yelling from the rooftops for him to give her the masters, and I get it, like everyone should own their own stuff, but at the same time it's like that's his job. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it is a job.
Yeah.
Um, but my thing is, I get it now when you say it like that. First of all, it was really cool that she did that. She dropped this
Yep.
album and everything because that's really dope. Because I I would love to see people do stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of like, and I wish I see more of this when my favorite band, August Burns Red, did it. They did it with one of their albums, and it was really dope. I remember Jay Z and Linkin Park when they did their collab album. I wish that
Yep.
there was more of that. But at the end of the day, it is a job. But if and like I said, I don't know the details of her life and how she feels, but she's also Taylor Swift. She just did this, and now that's hers. And
Yeah.
people are gonna go run to that. Um, but then that's just me, uh, lowly mortal.
Yeah, I'm not
I-
crying any teardrops on my guitar.
Yeah,
Anyone got that reference? There you go. um Yeah, I'm not crying for her. Like, to be
I
honest,
think we will. That's it.
I never understood the whole thing of like people like wanting her to get her masters back and all that. Like, yeah, fine, I get it, but again, like this is another person's job. Like he did his job, and that's how he's getting paid. Is he owns this thing because he helped bring you to stardom. Like that's how I think about it.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm happy that she came out with this, and I'm happy that these are things that she owns and she's going to profit off of as an artist. Like, good for her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm happy
100%.
that she's doing this, and her diehard fans that have been behind her for this, I'm sure, will make this jump and only listen to this stuff now. You know, or primarily listen to this stuff.
Yeah.
So she gets the money from it because she deserves it.
Yeah. My
Well,
also, what I remember, there was an issue, and I don't know if it was specifically Spotify or just streaming music in general. There
mhm.
was issues with that as well, and she was one of those people that was not happy about
Yeah, like the
streaming.
percentages they get off the streams.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's nowadays, record sales and all that, they don't account for too much
mhm.
when it comes to artists. Like mostly you're getting your money from your tours, like
Yeah.
whatever, collaborations you do and sponsorships you have, as well as your touring, and that's typically how people make money um in the music industry nowadays, because there's not a lot of albums. Like, yeah, you still have people that buy albums and stuff like that, but going platinum is different these days. Like going gold, it's different. All these streaming services, kind of eat into the budget and eat
Yeah.
into the profit, truly. um so it's different, but at the end of the day, I mean, I'm happy again that she's doing this, doing her own arrangements, writing her own music, getting paid from it. Like, do your thing,
Yeah. That,
this is
exactly. Do your thing.
and this is, in my eyes, this is how you fix that. You didn't like how that happened, all right, you go to the studio and you do your thing, and now you'll get paid from that. You
Yeah.
created something else to fix a mistake, or
Yeah.
to fix something you didn't like. So I commend her for being able to go back and do that, and do the things her way, how she wanted to.
Yeah.
And yes, some of the redo, like the Taylor versions of these songs, were actually really good. They were really nice. A lot of them are a little more slowed down, but they're super good. I like them.
Yeah.
The ones that I've heard anyway. So, leaving the realm, the physical realm, the
Like
realm
the
of
astral plane.
we're gonna leave the realm of the mortals behind, and we're gonna go into a little thing I like to call the interwebs.
It's like, for
So
those
the in,
watching, I'm just like playing with my dog.
Yeah, Cece is a little guest co-host, and she's loving it. But yeah, we're going into the interwebs and some extremely exciting news that has happened.
Exciting.
Exciting. You know what? It's exciting plus. So this past week, Disney Plus has gone in and ripped a hole in the universe and dug out some of our favorite things. And they have announced a ridiculous lineup
Yeah.
of new
I
things,
can't even tell you
not
all.
only Marvel, but also Disney properties too.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and jump into some of these things.
Yeah.
So let's start off with Marvel, right?
Yeah.
There
Let's
is,
break it down. Let's
yeah.
bar graph
So
this thing.
so right now there's 3, 6, 9. We got 12 Marvel announcements for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just rattle them off, and then we're gonna go from there.
Shoot them
So,
off.
so we have Secret Invasion,
Pew.
Marvel Zombies,
Pachum, pachum.
Agatha House of Harkness. We're gonna touch on that because I hate that name. Ironheart, X-Men 97. Yeah, you heard that. 1997's animated X-Men cartoon is getting a continuation.
And a
Right?
little fun fact, they used the meme of the X of
Yes,
Wolverine touching.
I saw
Like
that.
Disney Plus's page used it. I don't know if you can see that,
Y-
but yeah,
Yeah.
for those watching. But that was pretty
Um.
funny.
So next thing, I Am Groot,
Hmm.
Moon Knight, She Hulk, Miss Marvel, a show called Echo,
Don't know anything about it.
Spider Man,
The
freshman
animated.
year,
Yeah.
animated series, and then What If season 2. So let's go from the tippy top, right? We got Secret Invasion. Now, This is a little weird for me because I would have assumed that Secret Invasion would be its own movie and not necessarily a series that's going to be on Disney Plus. Like I can see how they can make it a series because there's a lot of different heroes involved in that.
Hmm.
But to me, Secret Invasion is such a it was such a big arc with Marvel
In the
Comics.
comics, yeah.
Yeah, that I can't imagine it not getting like, the Age of Ultron or the Endgame treatment, you know?
Yeah. That was a thought myself, especially after Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, and that's the other thing in Captain Marvel, like they basically set it up.
Yeah, I wondered, and I know a lot of people didn't care for Shield, the show. I was
Mhm.
wondering, like, when they showed spoilers for those of you should have seen it by now. At the end of Captain Marvel, you see what's his name, Nick Fury,
Mhm.
and it's like, all right, that to me, I thought of Sword. It
Yep.
instead of calling it Secret Invasion, call it Sword. But then it's like you had Shield and now you have Sword. But what is Secret
Mhm.
Invasion going to be about? Because the scrolls are not bad
Mm-mm.
in this universe. So what's gonna
Yeah,
there's
and
questions.
that's the weird thing, right? The Skrulls are kind of like on our side with Nick Fury, like they seem very okay, like they're the good guys,
They're good
which
guys.
for people that don't know, Secret Invasion in the comics, it was when this alien race called the Skrulls came in and they're shapeshifters, so they were taking over the identities of different Marvel superheroes and
Mhm.
kind of showing, it caused a lot of havoc. No one knew who was who at one point. There were some heroes that were shown as like they were always scrolls. Like the biggest one was Spider Woman.
Yeah,
Like we find out that she was always a scroll. Like she was this alien that was sent down and kind of, flew under the radar forever. And then she was bad. She was a bad guy portraying a good guy, and then she ended up saying forget that and became a full time good guy. But there's a lot of heroes wrapped into this, and I mean the Avengers were wrapped up in it,
yeah.
and then a lot of secondary heroes. So I don't really know how they're gonna do this. Are they really just gonna have? They're just gonna call it Secret Invasion and kind of follow the Scrolls and their relationship with Nick Fury, or are they gonna
Yeah.
really? Secret Invasion is them taking the spots of certain Marvel heroes. So are they gonna do that? Like, are we gonna find out that there's like maybe like a certain like sect of them that are bad and they gotta like we gotta like figure out who they are and
That's a headache in
yeah,
itself.
that's the thing. Like I feel like this one could get pretty confusing,
It
you
can
know.
get confusing or you can really mess it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
then especially like it's already weird that they can take over people.
yes.
So you'll never really know who's who. So then now trying to like figure out who's good and who's bad.
Hmm.
I don't know. This one I'm interested. I'm not gonna say I'm excited, but I'm interested to see it and see how it plays out.
I'd say I'm curious for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
curious I think is a good word because
but
I don't know how they're gonna go with it.
I remember, and also the end of Far From Home. Nick Fury and Maria Hill weren't Nick Fury and Maria Hill. They were
Yeah, they were
Skrulls,
scrolls.
and which was, I guess, it was a little weird from, but at least we saw the real Nick Fury hanging out in
Mhm,
the sword base. Yeah, it's just weird. And you know what it is? Because for those who don't know, in the comics, the Kree and Skrulls were like ancient enemies for the longest time. Like the Kree, I think they're like stopped talking about the Kree stuff. Like they kind of toned it down, especially from the Shield show
mhm.
and Captain Marvel and Guardians. Like Krees are getting. It seems like they're getting phased out. Are they going to bring them back in? We don't know
I wouldn't mind to see them back in. I think that would give the scrolls a bigger
because they were oppressed,
significance.
and I would like to see that. Well, not see it continue, but I'd like to see that uh, talked about. Like,
See, if the Kree were to come in and like this is how I can see it working also. The Kree were to come in and we see like, humans and the Kree have had like a good relationship and then the Skrulls are like, "Oh, wait, what? Like you guys were cool? Like
and yeah,
these guys always hated us," and then they turn their backs on humans, and I could see it going that way, but I don't know, like, are they gonna bring the Kree back? The Kree were such a focal point in the first, what, 2, 3 seasons of Agents of Shield,
yeah.
and they were finding the ancient civilization, and then I think this girl ended up being like part Kree, right? The main character.
No, no, because remember, to get in, not to get super heavy into the lore, Krees came back were back in the ancient times. They
Yeah.
what's the word when you play with you? Oh, wow, I'm forgetting the science word.
Computers,
No, no,
keyboards, typing.
they were messing with human DNA. I forget the word.
Oh, you talking about like DNA splicing and stuff like
Yeah, they would
that?
do stuff like that, and then
Okay.
in Shield, they
Mhm.
come across these this powder or whatever that turned these humans into Inhumans. So they weren't part
Mhm.
humans; they were just genetic mutation and stuff like that. They were
Okay.
messing with their DNA and stuff like that. So that's how Quake got her powers. I don't know if in the comics she got her powers that way, but that's how she became Quake
Mhm.
and got her abilities. Um, but yeah, they have to touch on that. But then if you touch on that, you're kind of touching in humans, and that becomes its own show. It's not really Secret Invasions.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Like,
at
what
this
is
point,
like?
it just becomes speculation.
Yeah, what is this gonna be? But yeah, let's pack that one up. Moving on to Marvel Zombies. I'm extremely excited for this. I'm super happy from the first images that they showed for the first
Season of what
season
if.
of What If, and they
Yeah.
showed some of the zombies like Iron Man
Did you
and Spider
see it?
Man.
Did you see?
I still haven't seen What If,
That's gonna be in your. What are you watching? Okay.
but
What are you watching today? Season one of What If.
but that's the thing. I was super into it when it came out, like the comic books when Marvel Zombie Run was happening. I was super into it. I loved it. I got like little toys. I got the comic books. I got the trades.
Hmm.
Um, so I want to see how this goes. And again, this is another arc that it was kind of like it was
It was.
split, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like main
It was a fun.
continuity
Yeah.
type deal, but it included all of the Marvel heroes.
Yes.
So X-Men were heavy into it. I mean, from what I remember, it came about because of Reed Richards, and Reed Richards is not in the MCU.
Mm.
So there was something going on. I think Reed Richards kind of goes crazy and he starts like experimenting and opens something up and it's zombies.
Yeah.
Um and then it goes to the heroes. But yeah, man, the Avengers get hit and all of them turn into zombies and they're still sentient, so they're talking to each other while they're going around like killing people and eating them. And there was a big thing of there's a whole there was a whole scene and I remember laughing at it. Spider-Man, he was like having a crisis
Hmm.
because he's a zombie and he was like, oh my god, I can't believe I ate Aunt May. He was like, I ate her brain. Like I can't believe I killed her. Like whatever, whatever. And everyone else was like, dude, shut up. Like you're a zombie. Like we
That's
we
good.
all did it. Like we all did it. Like
That's
get
funny.
over yourself.
Weirdly
So
funny.
it was really funny. It's like stupid little things like that. And I remember Spider Man was trying to like not be a zombie at some point and like he was trying to like pretend he was but he wasn't. I don't know, there was a lot of weird things going on in it. They also had Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness where they brought in um, Ash from Evil Dead. He
Mm.
was randomly in it for a while, but it
Reminds me
was
of that
super
movie
cool.
Warm Bodies, I think it was called, where the zombies were trying to the one zombie was trying to fall in love with a human, and
Hmm.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
it's weirdly funny, but that was an okay movie. But
but
yeah, that is odd. But yeah, when you get the chance to see What If, it doesn't fall in line with the comic as you described, because
yeah, I'm sure it
they
doesn't.
don't talk, but they continue to use the abilities. Like Captain America
Mhm.
knows how to use a shield, which is odd. If you're a
It's so
zombie, you don't.
weird.
It's so weird. Why? But I'm not gonna get into all that and spoiling it for people who haven't seen it.
But
Um,
I'm excited for it. I liked it. It's dumb. It's funny, and these are the things where like I'm happy to see Marvel kind of taking a step back with everything needs to be
connected,
um
but they are, and
canon.
that's the thing too. Like, not to
Like
get
not like
into
now that we have this multiverse thing, like I'm happy that they can go crazy.
yeah, like with What If, each of their when you watch it, like everything is its own thing. It could have stayed its own thing, which I would have been fine with.
Mhm.
Now I don't want to say anything about the ending, but it does show like, yeah, there's a lot of multiverses and whatnot. Marvel Zombies could be its own thing, and it doesn't, and it's in a sense still part of the main continuity, but you don't have to watch it
Mhm.
if you don't want it, especially if you don't like body horror, then you can miss it and not miss anything else.
So, but is it like it's not scary or anything, right?
It's not scary. Well, specifically that episode, to be honest, when I remember seeing Captain
Carter.
Carter, I thought it was really cool. It is obviously it is Disney Plus, but it was like if you watch like the old '90s Disney movies, it's like that's like the animation style is very modernized. I can see it being very Disney, which that makes sense. But
Like Disney animation.
yeah, like it's that Disney animation, but it's like that 3D. There's a little hints of 3D on it. Well, when you
Yeah.
watch it, you I can't really describe it articulately. I can't articulate. Ugh. I can't articulate right now. My English no good. But it's good. The animation is good. It just reminds me of like an upgraded version of uh, the Disney movies in the '90s. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Is CC going crazy over
Yeah,
there?
she's just moving in my lap. What do you want? Okay.
No, so yeah, I'm excited for that. I mean, having it kind of be in like Disney animation, I guess style, I think would be a little weird just because of the material. Like I feel like it doesn't really lend itself to being that cute Disney animation that we're
Yeah,
used to.
it's like the way I'm describing it. Not to say it's Disney style, but it seems like a cousin of Disney
Mm-hmm.
animation. Like you can
Okay.
see where it's deriving from.
Okay.
Like
All right. I
you
get
can
you.
see the influence from it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, I haven't seen What If yet. I'm assuming it's gonna take place in that timeline or universe
in
that
that
they showed
universe.
off in What If.
Yep.
Um, and again, I'm happy that we it's confirmed the multiverse, right? So we don't have to worry about stepping on toes of anyone. Like they can do this contained thing, have fun with it, and it could just be a one and done. And or you can do multiple seasons with it, but I'm saying it could be its own thing that we don't have to worry about anymore.
Yeah.
Um, like how it's going to interact with all the other properties. So I'm very happy about that.
As long as it
Now,
doesn't mess with the Infinity Saga, I'm okay.
yeah, yeah. As long as it's not like messing up stuff. Like that's the other part, right? Like hopefully this means that it can happen on its own and not mess anything up. So moving on to the next one, Agatha House of Harkness. I get it. I
Let's move
just
on.
hate it.
That's all you have to say. Let's move
Like
on
I
to
get
this.
it, but I hate it. The name sounds so I
I feel
just
like they
don't
didn't spend
know.
time on like I remember when it was announced that she was getting her own show, and I was like, cool, because
Yeah, like I'm down for her to have her own show.
yeah, I
Like
was
I want to
happy for her.
learn more about her because she was not that she was shoehorned into WandaVision, but
Mhm.
I think her character lends itself to be like, very interesting because we only get a taste of her, right? And then at the end, spoilers, but you know, Scarlet Witch kind of like takes over and
And become Scarlet
destroys
Witch.
her basically.
Yeah,
Um, so I would love to see kind of maybe not necessarily her origin, like, but I want to see
we
her
get her
get to
origin.
the point of being
Yeah,
in WandaVision. Like,
yeah,
why was she there?
yeah.
Because that's something that they don't ever really touch on, like how she ended up there.
She
Like
has
she
to
was just
explain that.
there. I know she, what was it? Like she felt Scarlet Witch's presence and ended up wanting to go there. She wanted to train her, be like her
In a sense, a
mentor.
mentor to a certain degree, because like we keep saying Scarlet Witch, but Scarlet Witch is an entity, kind of like
Yeah, I
what am
guess
I
like Phoenix.
yeah, kind of like Phoenix, but like because obviously because the Marvel Studios didn't have the rights to X the mutants yet. She was
Mhm.
just called Wanda, and now Scarlet Witch is an entity, which she is now a Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
There's like a long line of them.
Yeah, it's like it's an entity, it's a title,
Yeah,
and Wanda is the next one. She has ascended to this like power level and is now like
and I
a
like
powerful witch or the most powerful witch.
that she Agatha, like when they announced her thing, immediately my nerd self thought of like, oh, the Fantastic Four, because I know in
Mm,
one older comics that she takes care of Reed and Sue's kid. When yeah,
Franklin.
because he is like one of the strongest. He's not a what's the word? Because there's mutants and then there's like a
Yeah,
version.
he's not a
He's
mutant.
not a genetic mutation, but he is. I believe isn't he a mutant? He's not because I know they are not mutants.
They're not mutants.
They're
I don't
super. They're super. something. I forget the term.
Yeah, they're superhumans because they got their powers from that space anomaly.
Yeah,
They weren't born with it.
but I
But I
thought
don't think
Franklin was a mutant.
was Franklin a
I
mutant?
think like some sort of Omega, because he was like a powerful
Yeah, he was
person.
like at
So
one
I think he
point
was
he was
like
like one
Omega
of the most
level.
powerful Marvel
Yeah,
characters.
I think it
So,
was like Omega level. But like,
mhm.
not to get off tangent, they brought him to Agatha, and Agatha was the one that took care of him.
Mm.
That's when I heard she was getting her show. That was like the first thing I thought. I was like, is that going to tie in somehow with?
That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing
I don't
that.
think they're going to get too tie in with the, because then
Nah, they could.
Fantastic Four is going to be its own movie. It's not going to be a
Mhm.
show, which I would like to see a show like with high quality. Like
We're asking for too much now, Jay.
we are asking for too much. And first of all, if you're gonna do a show, I mean, you can't do a show because I want John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, and I will keep singing that into the void. That is,
I would love that.
yeah,
I would absolutely love that. I don't know who they'd get for Human Torch and
Ben
the
Grant,
Thing,
Ben.
but I would love them to do it. I know, and you know what? And I hope this isn't true.
Mm,
I saw a rumor that Ezra Miller wants to be the Human Torch.
I don't want that. I,
I like Ezra Miller as an actor. I do not like him as a superhero actor. I don't like what he did to the Flash. And if he's allowed to touch the Human Torch, I would be super pissed because I just don't like you know that he's trying to be this like so
multi.
both of these characters fall into the same thing of like they're very like quippy and they're very kind of like arrogant and when Ezra Miller gives his turn at that, it just doesn't come off right. You know,
Oh, you're talking about Flash.
yeah, like with him with Flash, I do not like him as
What
Flash.
have you seen with like I don't want to get super into it because I have my own things that could be its own like rant, but I'm just curious, like what are you talking about? Like, was it from Justice League or
So I've seen bits of him from Justice League. I've seen him obviously in Batman vs Superman real quick, but I've also seen him in the Flash special where he shows up Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I did see that episode, yeah.
So
You got like some tidbits of that, and you probably saw the Josh Whedon version, but I'm not gonna
yeah.
get into that.
And I haven't seen all of Justice League. I've seen the clips of him as Flash.
Yeah, those are horrible.
And I do not like it.
That was
I
Josh
just
Whedon.
don't.
I'm
I
just gonna
think
say that.
it's and that weird cameo he had in Suicide Squad.
Oh, that was great though. I thought like that was a nice way to be like, because those were his road. That was his road gallery.
So here's the thing. It was a good Flash moment.
Yeah,
It was a good thing for the Flash. I do not like how Ezra Miller portrays the Flash. And I will say until the day I die, the fact that WB did not throw $5 bajillion at Grant Gust so that he can continue the Flash on the big screen,
I
like
to be
that is
honest,
wrong. They
I
are
would
wrong for
have.
that.
They should, and
They're
you know
more
what it
wrong
is?
for that than they are for the Snyderverse.
Ah, you're pushing it. But I will align with you and say, um, and it's CW. CW is known for going forever with their shows, going on like bajillions of seasons. But it should have ended where it just kind of catapults him into the Snyderverse.
Dude,
That would
that
have
would have
been
been
nice
the
because
best.
there's so many multiverse things. It would have been all right. He would have left the CW and been part of the Snyderverse, and he would have had a new suit, which I do like the suit, and
I don't mind the suit. I think the suit's
that
cool.
would have been dope. But remember, I don't work for WB, and they don't want money, so that's what it is.
No, they're dumb. So
Yeah,
anyway, getting off of that,
we went from
going
Agatha
back to
to.
Agatha, House of Harkness.
I
I
agree
hate
with
the
the title.
alliteration with the name.
Yeah,
House of Harkness is like
it could have
it's
just been
I
called
don't like it.
Agatha Hart, or just Agatha, or just,
It could have just been called Agatha, and I would have been cool
yeah,
with that.
yeah.
It just is. I don't like the tagline House of Harkness. I don't like that.
It seems very like it reminds me, and I'm going back. It reminds me of a Disney show, like the Disney House of Mouse kind of a thing. Like it's, and I'm like, oh, I don't want that to be a thing because this is Marvel, and I
Like
don't
it's
want
not
to see
even like
other
a
characters.
rhyming thing. Like it's just like it's too much. Like it's
Yeah,
too much H.
Agatha.
House of Harkness. Like I don't need that.
You're just spreading more germs that way.
um so yeah, I mean, I'm super interested in that. I want to see, what's Agatha's deal. um then the next one going on is Ironheart. I'm super down for. I want to see it. Robert Downey Jr. is supposed to be the new Jarvis in it, like he's the AI in the suit.
That's
um
confirmed, right? Yeah. Like I thought.
yeah, they confirmed
Oh,
that a
okay,
while
cool.
ago.
'Cause I was like,
uh, I
thank
don't
goodness.
know. I don't remember what the story is gonna be because I heard that his
There's
daughter might take it up, but then I also heard that they're gonna have it be aligned with the comic books where that other girl,
Riri
um,
Williams.
yeah, when she's super
I
smart and
and
she built her own iron suit.
I
Like
was dope with that too. I
I'd rather that, but I can see the other
would.
thing happening too.
I was down with this girl taking up the mantle, but she's already a smart. I'm thinking of Shuri from Black Panther. She's already a smart black woman
Mm,
from Wakanda. So
yeah.
there's this expectation, like, yeah, not to get into like the weeds of it, but she is a smart black or Wakandan.
Yep.
So like, why not have a smart black American young girl
Mhm.
who like get has the same IQ as I was gonna say Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
That I would like to see that. It's not something that they have. I don't want to say greenlit. There's no production. We don't know the
Yeah.
cast. This is interesting. I'm with it. And there's
Yeah,
not much
it's
to say
definitely
about with it. If
interesting.
you guys know the story, you got to say yes to it.
X-Men 97, next one on the list. I'm hyped.
I'm
I'm
hyped, but I'm mad that they didn't mention Spider Man because it's like his show was canceled too. But maybe
I'm
depending
just
on the
taking it
success,
as it comes. Maybe if X-Men 97 does good, maybe they'll bring back Amazing Spider-Man.
or if they bring back Silver Surfer. But I'm just saying.
I don't think we're gonna see
We're
that.
never gonna get that.
I mean, never say never, but we won't see that until we see Silver Surfer in the on the big screen. Once we see him
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
they
big
probably
screen,
wouldn't.
maybe,
Yeah, you're right.
like, because they wouldn't do that beforehand.
You're right.
I would love to see Amazing Spider-Man. Like, I would love it
They need to
so
finish
much.
it.
It would be
But I
so
think
good.
because of their not to like hop onto the next one, the Spider-Man, the animated one, freshman year,
Yeah.
I guess they're doing that. Um,
Yeah, I guess like they wouldn't do that one because they're gonna be doing this, and it might just I don't know.
I hope it has the same vibe as the '90s and
It
Spectacular
won't.
Spider-Man.
It won't.
Um,
You're asking
hopefully
for too much again.
the same. Well, you think it's gonna be too kiddie? Like I'm.
No, not necessarily Kitty, but it's just gonna. It's not. I don't think it'll have the same vibe because
Mm.
'90s, the Amazing Spider-Man, the Fox TV show, it was obviously it was like a kids cartoon, but it had kind of like a grittier feel.
They had a lot of
Spider-Man,
themes that were kids probably wouldn't understand. Especially Spectacular Spider-Man had themes as well. That's very
Spider-Man was a little more adult.
yeah
He was
yeah.
grown up.
He was in college.
Towards the end of the cartoon, he's actually a teacher.
Yes.
He becomes Professor Parker or whatever,
Mhm.
and he's teaching at the school, and he's a little older. you know it would be great to see that continued, but I feel like they won't do that because they don't want to interfere with the MCU Spider-Man that's
Yeah,
happening.
he's a
you
kid.
know
He's a high school kid, which makes sense. They want to keep that because I remember
yeah.
when before uh when Spectacular Spider-Man was on WB, like that was a really great show, but it got
Mhm.
canceled, and then they made it wasn't called the Amazing Spider-Man. It was this Disney version, which it was watered down. It was very watered down. It was just Spider-Man with gadgets, which doesn't make sense to me. Like it wasn't the
Mhm.
street level Spider-Man that we grew
Mhm.
up knowing and love. And that's what they're doing with the MCU with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, where he's just doing crazy, outlandish thing. It's a very, as my friend would describe it, it's Iron Man Jr.
Yeah.
I would like to see I don't want to say Daredevil, but more grounded,
Yeah,
flee
see,
into the
I
city.
liked
Like that's why I liked Homecoming, but
Homecoming.
it still was like it was Iron Man Jr. And I agree, and I love the movie, but
Like Homecoming, I liked because it was more so friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's what I want
yeah,
to see. The freshman year thing, not to go into it now, but I think that's what it might
yeah,
be.
yeah.
Um,
We're gonna
but
focus on
moving on to the next one on here, I Am Groot. It's gonna be a weird Groot show. I'm
I'm
not
with
sure
it. It's
why.
this group. Yeah.
It's just Groot. I don't think anyone asked for this, but just because it's a meme and Baby Groot and all that,
If it's
Everyone
not
wants
Vin
it.
Diesel, I don't want it
I'm sure it will be, but it's just I don't know. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, how are you gonna make just Groot a series? Like, if it's a
I'm
series of
more
like animated shorts, like
like
2 3 minutes
Visions. I
long.
was gonna say like Visions, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like 2 3 minutes long, and it's just like him doing like funny things. Fine, but full on 20-minute episodes, like I can't imagine that.
If that or if there's a cast that surrounds him. But
Even
then it's
even
like, how would
still,
that work? And
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not too. I mean, I'm sure I'll watch it, but I'm not too into it.
Until then.
Next one, which I am into, and one of my best friends, Brandon, he has been preaching the good word of Moon Knight for as long
Forever.
as I can remember, and I love giving him crap about it. But Moon Knight, Moon Knight is finally coming. Oscar Isaac, portraying him, and the stills were cool. The teaser trailer that we got was pretty cool.
Very
Only thing is, they didn't show the costume in the teaser, but they had shown the costume previously in stills, in like production
there
stills.
was yeah, it was like a mannequin, but in the trailer you only see his back and then you just see him
You
jumping
see his
across the
hand.
roof and then the hand. So you don't really
So
see a lot
the costume that they showed before, I'm hoping it's like
on early version.
pre-production, because it looked more mummy-ish. There's like a lot of raps going on.
Hmm.
And I think it kind of took away from Moon Knight. I wasn't too psyched about it. The one thing I will say, teaser trailer was really cool. I'm excited to see how this goes on. It kind of really played up
The multiple
the multiple personalities that he has, and I'm pretty excited. I didn't think. I mean, I don't know if this is personality. I don't know if it's him actually, but he was British.
yeah, that threw me off because when they was like, oh, he when he was doing the monologue, I was like, Oscar, I was just I watched Dune. I'm watching
Mhm,
that show on HBO Max, Scenes of a Marriage, and I was like,
mhm.
that's not Oscar Isaac. But then I was like, oh, well, we'll see. Hopefully it does well because sometimes the changing accents for roles can um screw up a person, an actor. Like it can take
Yeah,
away from it.
I hope it's good. It looks cool. The production looks very good on it. I
I'll
just
say
the accent was weird.
the when you say accent or action.
Accent.
Oh, I was gonna say the action looked dope. It made
Yes.
me feel like if one day Disney decides to oops, sorry guys. Someone was calling me, the fiance, and I did tell her we are recording, but she will try to text me. I was gonna say it reminded me of how gritty Daredevil was, and if they can
Mhm.
bring like it in the Moon Knight trailer, like it showed him like bloody fists. Like I was
Yeah.
like, okay, they can bring back the Netflix shows to a certain degree.
Mhm.
We don't need Iron Fist. Um, I would like to. What I would love to for it to come back is just Daredevil and Luke Cage.
So I enjoyed Luke Cage when it came. I mean, I think the ending was a little weird, but I enjoyed Luke Cage.
Yeah,
Um,
Luke Cage could have been great. Not to get off.
Daredevil and Punisher, I think, need to come back. I really hope the rumors are true and that Charlie Cox will be coming back in Spider-Man. And because the rumors are that he's gonna, what is it? What's Daredevil's name? His
Matt
actual
Murdock.
name? Matt Murdock. Matt Murdock is gonna be his representation, and he's gonna
Yeah,
be his lawyer.
we're at this point. I'm not
This
like
movie is like
I'm just waiting. That's all. Because it's like
this
we
movie
got
just
another
had
month,
so much.
and there's a rumor that there's going to be another trailer, and I don't want to watch the trailer because it's. But the thing is, I might have to because if I'm on the
So
internet, it's going
there
to be.
apparently we are like it's like it's a heavy rumor. Obviously, it's not like confirmed by
Yeah,
Disney
until it
Marvel,
comes
but it's
out.
like it has weight that we are gonna get another trailer, and I feel like we need to number one. Like I think we
Yeah.
need another trailer because the other one was just too much. But I think we need another trailer. I'm definitely gonna watch it because I'm a piece of crap and I'm not gonna say no. But I don't know. I know we're getting off topic for Moon Knight, but
Yeah.
anyway, we're Spider Man has its day. Don't
Yeah.
worry, we're gonna be talking about that next.
Mhm.
Um, but Moon Knight looks super cool. I like Oscar Isaac, except for X Men Apocalypse. I hope that gets scrubbed from everyone's minds.
Yeah, like
But
it's crazy. Just nah, we can't go. We can't go on a tangent. We can't just rant about everything. Days of Future
um,
Past was great, and then you just brought it down.
then
But
they messed it up like an asshole. But anyway,
mhm.
Moon Knight looks cool. Oscar Isaac looks cool. British accent a little weird. Hopefully they explain that. But next one up, She-Hulk. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah,
excited for She-Hulk. They showed the images. This guy, freaking Hulk, is in it.
yeah, Mark Ruffalo. Mark
Mark
Buffalo,
Ruffalo.
the white, great white buffalo. Yeah, his arm is healed, which I was annoyed that they said is
Mm.
permanent, and now it's healed. They're like, no, it healed, and I'm like, well, why would you say
Yeah, because they made such a big deal saying it was permanent, and now it's healed out of nowhere. Like, is it confirmed that She-Hulk takes place afterwards?
after the 5 years? I mean,
Yeah, like after Endgame.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because in the image he's healed. I just don't know if there's going to be any scenes from during the 5 year, like that gap where we don't see
Mhm.
him. Like I feel like they're going to answer a lot of stuff like that, and I hope, like, I would like to see more of the Hulk, but I hope he's not taking a heavy presence because it will take
Yeah,
away from She-Hulk
from
herself.
She-Hulk.
Also, She-Hulk, I forget the character's name. um because she's a lawyer in the comics, she's always bumping into Matt Murdock, so
Yeah,
that's pretty dope too, but I'm just throwing that in there.
it would be nice. I would also like to see, because it kind of seems like we might be getting a Thunderbolts at some point with Marvel. It
Mhm.
kind of seems like they're building towards that. I'm not sure if that's what Julian Marie Dreyfus is building, but Thunderbolts is where we're going with this, and I would not mind that whatsoever. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do, especially kind of showing it getting built up in the background of all the Marvel Disney
Yeah,
Plus shows. I think is a good idea, and then eventually I'm sure they'll make their way on the big screen. Uh, I'm excited to see Hulk again. I'm really hoping though this could be a weird thing, but I can see it kind of fitting in now that Mark Ruffalo is going to be in
yeah,
She-Hulk and
that's
Hulk
what I
Hulk is
was
going to be in
concerned
it.
too.
I want to see if they dabble with Gray Hulk because it looks like you know uh, he's back to being Bruce Banner
Well, see,
because
depending on,
remember he was Hulk all the
yeah, so it
time.
seems like there's two images. I don't know if one is from the past where he was trying to figure out
Hmm.
how to have the Hulk come back, because there was a point where
Hmm.
he was just trying to figure it out, and then there's the other image where he is the Hulk. So I don't know, and I think that's
So
when it comes to the mortal minds. I think it'll be a little hard because I was like, I would like to see Red Hulk, but this guy's a little bit older, so I don't know if
So here, I think we're gonna get Red
for
Hulk.
sure.
I
Okay,
really do. He is older. He's probably not gonna do the motion cap for it. I
definitely
can imagine him
the
doing
voice.
like voice and facial motion
Yeah.
cap, but not the actual running around. Um,
Yes.
but I can see him arms healed and all that, right? So let's dive into the rumor
All
mill
right.
for a little bit. So I'm assuming in order for him to bring the Hulk back, right, and to get it to a point where he can be the Hulk and Bruce Banner all at once, like he was in
Hmm.
Endgame, I think he's going to be using his cousin,
Hmm.
right, who happens to be She-Hulk, and it's going to go well for her, and then it's going to go well for him, or vice versa. He'll do it first to himself, and then be able to do it with her. So I have a feeling that's going to happen. We're probably going to get some Savage She-Hulk for a little bit. Like I can't imagine she's just going to immediately become She-Hulk and be
Yeah.
perfect. So I have to imagine like she might be hulking out for a little bit, and then they get it under control. Now, if it does take place in between, right, uh, where he's trying to figure that out, I can see him splitting himself and creating Bruce Banner as himself, and then the Hulk,
They can touch on
and
that.
having the Hulk running
Yeah.
around, and then She Hulk has to wrangle
Hmm.
him in. More than one She Hulk has to go out and bring the Hulk
Hmm.
back.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening.
Make me think.
Or even if we get beyond the whole like splitting of them and he just becomes like like steroid Hulk and he's just like he can't get a hold of himself and She Hulk now has to go and bring him in like and bring him back. Like I could see that happening. It would be really cool if it was Grey Hulk. I would really like that. I know that that might not be a thing, but I could see this show kind of going
I'm
that way.
down for that too, but then it makes me think of her other life as well as a lawyer, because I know they're gonna want to play that up.
Hmm.
Because it's like, what would that
Yeah,
have to do with her lawyer? Unless that's just gonna be like, oh, she's running late to like
it might
court
just
or
be.
something like. I know they're gonna
I
play
think
that.
it'll be like she's a lawyer before becoming She
It
Hulk.
reminds me of Daredevil. Like there are scenes that were episodes where that was the whole thing. They were in court or they spend
Yeah.
large amounts of time like getting files together. So I feel like they're gonna play that
I
out.
just can't imagine they're gonna do
And
that
I don't know her
again, number
villains or
1.
rogue gallery as well. Like I don't know much about that.
Yeah, I don't know. And then number 2, like, the whole thing in the comics and stuff, I know she is the Hulk all the time. She's
Yes.
She-Hulk, she's always that. So I can't imagine they're really just gonna be like, "Oh, she's a lawyer now. She's just big and green." Like, I don't think they're gonna fold that in.
They might wanna say she can do it at will as well and not have a split personality. Because then, like, she's
I would
because
hate
if she's
that.
in like, I'm just thinking of, like, what they're trying to do with their budget, and now I'm just getting into the suit's
Mhm,
mind. Like, I
mhm.
like the idea of her being true to the comics, like, just straight up Hulk, in Hulk version, Hulk form, but it's like, like, it's in the was it a trailer or just stills? It was stills. It shows her in human form
Stills.
as an adult, and I'm like, "Hmm, they're gonna."
I have a feeling where it'll be like she's exposed, like, during her interactions with her
Yeah.
cousin, Mark Ruffalo, and then out of nowhere, she becomes the Hulk and she stays the Hulk. I don't want her to have control over it.
Mm,
I don't. I think that that would suck. I want her to be Hulk all the time, Hulk
yeah,
form all the time. Her whole claim to fame is she's She-Hulk, so she's the version of Hulk where
her.
she's Hulk all the time with the strength,
She's
but
her.
is human and smart and able to do these things. The Hulk, Bruce Banner, it took him forever to get
Yes.
there. So I would really like to see her kind of have a better grasp from the beginning on the whole Hulk thing. And then Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner kind of have to like catch up to that. Um, so I
Yeah,
would like
but
that.
I'm curious. That's gonna be dope.
Yeah. And then sticking with the mighty Marvel women, we have Miss Marvel.
Which got delayed,
Um,
unfortunately. I think it's just,
Yeah, it did get delayed until
I believe
2023,
so.
and I I think this is one that's a big fan
Mhm.
favorite. Miss Marvel came up pretty heavily, back in the 2010s, I wanna say.
Yeah.
It was during the time
Yeah.
where Marvel didn't have the Fantastic Four going around.
Mhm.
So Miss Marvel had always been a character. She was more so like a B or C lister. And then when they cut the Fantastic Four out of their lineups due to all the issues with Fox, um, Miss Marvel came in because she has the same abilities as Reed Richards. So they really played into her character. She was in a lot of like Marvel video games and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And I mean, I don't mind her. I think she's cool.
I think
Like,
she's
she's
very probably for the community as well as being a, uh,
yeah, it's a woman. She's
I wouldn't say either
yeah,
Arabic or she practices. I don't wanna get it wrong 'cause
I
I forget.
I don't know if she's Muslim. I do think she's Arabic. I don't think she's I don't think she's like
Hold on, Imma
Pakistani.
just do a little
Um,
looky-loo. That was
yeah,
horrible.
Miss Marvel. Yeah, Kamala Khan. What is she though?
If you go in, 'cause I remember looking at it like
Yeah, she was originally conceived
Pakistani
as
American.
the young ward. She was as the young ward to
Yes.
Captain Marvel.
Pakistani American.
And
Yeah.
she is Pakistani.
From Jersey
Okay, all
City,
right.
New
So she,
Jersey.
and then she gets her stuff through the
The
Kree, which
Inhumans.
would
Yeah.
make sense. And in this one, from the stills that we saw, it looks like she's huge fan of
Yep.
Captain Marvel. So I'm sure that's where she's going to get the name Miss Marvel. It doesn't look like she's going to be a sidekick or anything for her, which they've really gone away from that. Like with her recent
Yeah.
runs, it hasn't been like she's like
Yeah,
her sidekick or anything. She's very
she's
much her
very
own thing.
Spider-Man-esque where she's gonna be doing her own thing, where I'm
Hmm.
hoping the show
Yeah,
goes treats it that way as well. One of my favorite
yeah,
thing about her, um, when I was reading Miles Morales Spider-Man, they're around the same age, so they, like, sometimes team up with each
hmm
other, which is pretty cool.
yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think
And
that's
Miles showing
again
up.
a really big thing. And
Miles
what?
showing up, that would be dope.
Don't do that. Don't
You're
do
just
that.
like
We
you're
can't.
just the meme.
Don't
You're
do
just
that.
doing the meme from the Endgame. Just don't do that. Don't give me hope.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You can't.
Don't tease me.
I would want that so bad. So bad. You don't even know. Ugh. That'd be so cool. And then we can get another weird, like really weird fan favorite. We get Squirrel
Oh,
Girl up
they
in there.
It's and do you know why she's such a popular I just don't know why. Like, I
It's just one of those things, again, in the 2010s, she reached this weird pinnacle of popularity. Marvel does this every, like, decade, I feel. Like, you remember in the '90s, Gambit
yeah,
was, like,
yeah,
ridiculously
yeah.
popular? Like, why? You know what
You're
I'm
right,
saying?
you're
Like,
right.
it doesn't Deadpool,
But
early
Deadpool,
2000s.
like, I can somewhat
You gotta remember, Deadpool started out as a very serious
yeah.
character.
A serious
He
yeah,
was a serious
yeah.
assassin, and then, they gave him they played up the multiple person
The craziness
the
aspect. Or
the craziness, and
and the
he's, the
comedy.
schizophrenia, and he, could break the fourth wall. They played that up, and then he became a fan
Yeah.
favorite forever. It's still going on. But yeah, every so often they kinda, like, just push these heroes and, like, it resonates with some people, and then it ends up being a big deal. Squirrel Girl is one of them. I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
why,
out.
but, I mean, I'm for it. I would love I think I'm as much as I would love to see Miles in Miss Marvel, I really doubt we'll get it. I can see us getting Squirrel
Yeah.
Girl
I can see
in
that,
Miss
or
Marvel.
if with Miles is saying a lot, but I can see a mention or like a little like, "Oh,
Yeah,
Miles from my class." Like,
yeah,
it's
like, I
kinda
could
how,
see
like,
that happening.
Gambino in, Homecoming was like, "Yeah, my
Mhm.
nephew," and I was like, "Oh," and he didn't even say his name, so
Yeah,
that
like,
was, like, cool.
I could totally see
That I
that
can s
happening for sure.
pos highly
Maybe even seeing him like Miles Morales, but not
yeah.
Spider-Man Miles Morales. I don't think we'll get that. Moving on to the next one, Echo.
Should
Um,
we just do a little research on it? 'Cause I don't
I know nothing about it.
on Disney Plus, it says
I
Marvel
think I
Studios
heard
Echo.
something that it's a spin-off of Hawkeye,
Ah, yes, I did hear about that, but then it's like, why not?
but I feel like that's so early to
Yeah,
do that.
like, wouldn't let me see, Echo.
Yeah, Echo, starring Alaqua.
Who? Oh, I see. Played by
Yeah, Alaqua Cox. That's the actor's name. So she was introduced back in 1999,
yeah,
and
when I type it
Kevin,
in, it says people
shut
also
up.
search for Ronin, Hawkeye. I can see it might, but then I'm wondering if it's gonna play up on the fact that when he was Ronin, but I thought that Hawkeye was gonna do that.
That would be cool. Well, no, Hawkeye I think kind of plays more into him training Kate Bishop.
Yeah, but then he's still being chased
So,
by like I'm currently reading the Hawkeye book. I'm like
so,
wondering what that's gonna be.
so I wonder. I have a feeling this will take place after everything, right? He's training Kate Bishop to be the new
Yeah,
Hawkeye, and he's still running from his turn at Ronin. But maybe Echo takes place during his run at Ronin, like while he is
I'm
Ronin.
kind of doing a little
Um,
scanny here. The adoptive daughter of Kingpin, depicted as
yep.
supporting character Daredevil, Native American, deaf. She's wait a few deaf. She's deaf,
Oh, so
but
she's deaf, but she's also like
yes,
Taskmaster,
yeah,
master.
literally that
She
gifted
can
ballerina and just random
she can perfectly recreate any human movement she
yes
witnesses.
photographic reflexes. And just a random tidbit here, she is
Oh, she is Ronin at one point.
oh yeah, notable is and Phoenix. I was gonna get to that too, but yes, yeah, oh, look, there you go. So but you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
The show is dropping. Like I feel like we're gonna know more about Echo when we watch the show, Hawkeye. But the fact that they
Hawkeye? Yeah,
announced
for
it,
sure.
like everything else made sense to me when they announced it, but I was like, why not? But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be a character or a mention or maybe even a cliffhanger at the end of the series.
But if she's the adoptive
But we'll get
daughter of
more.
Kingpin, do we get this actor back? We're asking for too
Don't
much.
do that. Don't do that. Even if they showed
Like his bald head,
okay, all right, here
just
we
his
go.
bald head.
Here we go. We're gonna enter.
Oh, you're entering? Okay, let me just. Okay, he's going. Ready, guys? You ready? Boost up your mics, everyone, or speakers.